Hi, Cindy. Thanks for taking the call today.
Thank you, Cindy.
And I wanted to, please pardon the bell, I'm at work, but no students are coming in. But I wanted to ask you a few questions about your interest in becoming a TCF board member. And the first one I have for you today is, who will you be serving in honor of, and can you share a little about him or her?
Yes, I will be and do serve in honor and memory of my firstborn child and only son, Vaughn, who died 16 years ago from cancer at 35 years of age. I also serve in memory of my older brother, who died in 2009 from a stroke. Vaughn was a very unique young man. He was very bright. He traveled. He had 2 degrees. He was a family person, a bright person, just delightful and encouraging of everyone, and a real passionate person about what he believed in. He was a Spanish major, so he lived out of the country twice, and went back. And then after he graduated in Spanish, he went back to school and got his MBA, moved to Houston, lived there a few years, then got married. And actually, he got married a year after he was diagnosed. And so he was only married 2 years. But she still remains a part of our family. Not as close as probably some would like, but I think it's better for her so she can continue with her life and not have us, watching over everything she does. But she does live in Houston, so we don't see her frequently. I just keep in touch by phone. He's been deceased 16 years. She's not remarried, so I think that speaks pretty well for our son.
It does.
Because she says she just hasn't met anyone like him, and I, of course, was quick to tell her she won't. But hopefully she will meet someone who does make her happy and who helps her, and helps her continue on with the good life.
Good. Well, thank you so much. And his name again?
Vaughn, Baughn.
That is a beautiful name, Vaughn.
Thank you. It's a family name.
Thank you for sharing Vaughn with us. And the next question is, what is your history with TCF?
Vaughn died in November of 2002. And I began attending TCF in April of 2003. So I've begun my 17th year. And I attended for probably 11 or 12 years as a member, and then began helping to co-lead, and then took over leadership probably about 7 years ago. To be honest, it just was kind of a natural transition. It was kind of hard to tell where I left, as a member and became a leader and co-leader. But I've probably missed in that length of time, maybe 6 to 8 meetings, local meetings. I'll be attending the conference in Philadelphia. That will be my 7th national conference. And I've attended one regional conference, and I went all the way to Minnesota to do it because Kathy was putting it on.
Wow.
And so Kathy's she's a bestie to me as she is to many, and she put on a wonderful conference. So I intend and enjoy meeting with other members, and I do handle the phone calls for our local chapter. I handle the phone calls. I'm one of the persons on the list for people to call if they need help, or during the night or day or whenever, members who can't sleep or whatever. We have 5 or 6 who serve there. I use my personal cell phone. I answer all the phone calls, giving information, trying to connect people, trying to offer resources, encouraging them to attend. And and just try to let people know we're there, encourage them to come back, as we all do in in our chapter meetings. And so I've been in TCF, like I said, I'm starting my 17th year.
Wonderful. Thank you for all you do for TCF.
Wow.
And the next question would be, why do you want to serve on the TCF board?
I would like to serve on the board for numerous reasons. The first one being Bon had cancer, so at a point he knew that he probably would not survive. And he asked me, and we talked. We had some difficult talks, but he asked me to please go on and have a full life, have a life with joy, do what I can to help others, and to not grieve, but to live. He lived and he wanted me to live. He said, he just told me, Mama, it's important to me that you live because I know what you have to offer. I know who you are. I know, I know what you can do for yourself and for other people. And I have 2 daughters and a husband. Now have 5 grandchildren. I had 1 at the time he died. And he said, there's just too much that you can do for people. And I don't want you to not have a life just because I can't. In fact, because I can't, it's even more important to me that you do. And so I've tried to do that in his honor and in his memory. And I think it's important I think it would be good if a sitting chapter leader were elected to serve on the board, because I think we can bring from our membership and from other local chapters, we can bring information and requests and so forth to the board that I know most people who serve on the board have been chapter leaders, regional coordinators, and have served in many areas. But I believe a sitting member would continue to be able to bring what's important to the board. And for that reason, I really think that's one of the reasons I'd like to do it. I think there's also, as we know, there's become a disconnect. There's become a lack of, well, for lack of a better word, a lack of trust and so forth between some local members and the board. I think someone sitting as a chapter leader can help negate some of that feeling. I think they could attend meetings, certainly within my state, and try to encourage people to realize that no one has anything to gain by this disconnect. And boards are meant to have governing rules, and there are many rules that apply to boards that don't apply, to other things. And we need to be able to, and we need to learn to trust the people who serve on our board. Now, that being said, this going out to the membership is going to there can probably be some members who think that what I'm saying is a foolish statement. But when you when you belong to a group like this, this is not a group you choose to belong to.
Right.
So I think you have to trust the people who lead the chapters, who lead the regions, who sit on the board, because they have nothing to gain and they have a lot to lose. And we're all trying to keep our board up, keep our organization up, moving forward, encompassing and being of service to more people who don't even know we're here.
Exactly.
So I think it's important if you have someone who maybe has somewhat of a rapport with locals, with local members. And I know the board, sitting on the board can't be easy, and you give up a lot, but you do it to serve as you do your brother and Allie, her brother, and as people's children, our grandchildren, and our siblings.
Right.
So I think it's important, and I think it's important that we try to move forward and restore trust in our board. And people need to understand there are just rules that have to be followed. And my opinion of what's going on is irrelevant to me. I mean, to everyone else. To me, it's important, obviously. But I don't think that, I personally don't have mistrust. I think I would have liked to have seen things done a little differently. But be that as it may, it is what it is. So you move forward. You don't remain stagnant, because then you can't do your job.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And one of the second to the last question would be, what do you hope to bring with you, and how do you plan to contribute to TCF as a board member?
Well, the only real thing I have to offer to the board, I think, is the experience as a grieving mom and grieving sister. 16 years for my son and 10 for my brother. And I hope to bring to the board my experience, my what I've done in order to move forward, what I do in my chapter each month, how I've talked to people, as you might have, and I know many in our chapter have. We laugh and say, if someone on the street asks us how our day is going, if it's not going well, we tell them, and we follow them all over the store if that's what it takes, because they're going to hear our story. But I do hope to bring experience and desire to help others, and a rapport between the local members and the board and the advisory boards, the board of directors, and the people who are in positions that I'm not in. And I've worked with TCF in every facet that I've been asked to do, and there are people who've done better, but I don't think there are people who've tried harder. So I just hope to serve, to be of service to everybody, because this is the worst pain anyone can ever feel, or at least in my eyes. And only by being among like people can in my case, can you, or the way I feel, can you actually get through it?
Right.
And it's you experience it, but you learn from others. So it's good to have, it's good to be able to talk to people. It's good to be able to spread, to give people hope, to give people ways to handle the grief, to channel their grief in a positive way rather than a negative way, and to be available to speak about it. And I've spoken at some meetings here in town, and not fumbling quite as much as today, but I hope to do whatever I can to help further our cause, because this is the place. Mm-hmm. This is the only place you get this kind of help.
You're exactly right.
And as far as contribution, if you, in a monetary manner, I intend to and expect to pay my own expenses, for attendance to whatever, to the board meetings if elected, or to other chapters or whatever. I contribute to my own chapter. So, sure. And just whatever we see as necessary, what I can do, I will do.
Well, thank you so much for all the contributions that you do have for TCF. And what is your hope for TCF now and in the future?
My hope is that we'll continue, be even stronger, that we will reestablish the trust among all the members, that we're around forever for the people, as we always say, who don't even yet know we need us. And Cindy, to be honest, I think there is some thought of that people who sit on the board lead more of a privileged life than some of us out there in the boonies. And whether that's true or not, I don't think it makes them any different serving on the board. And if you have a privileged life, that's not a bad thing. You know, you can be of at least certainly more financial service to organizations or to people that you try to help. But I think it would be nice if we could help people understand that everybody on that board does not lead a privileged life, and that regardless of what their financial backing is or what they've come from or who they are now, someone can come from less and be more, and just because you're more, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing.
That's right.
More in a financial manner. And so I think it's important that we feel like they're regular people, y'all are regular people, or we are regular people, that we're all alike.
Right.
And that we all share the same goal, and that we all share the same desires for TCF. I think it's got fractured right now, but I think that can be fixed.
Yes.
But I think we have to work to fix it, and I'm willing to try to do that.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to answer these questions. And if you'll hang on for just a few minutes after I stop the recording, I can give you some information, some other information that I needed to give you. But thank you so much for answering the questions, Cindy.
Thank you. And
Nice talking.
thank you for serving.
Well, thank you.